Thor, the god of thunder, has an impressive set of guns that ignites even Zeus's jealousy. Here's how you can achieve Thor's arms without being on that Marvel Norse god juice. And stick around to the end for bonus tips on how you can implement the scientific training principles to make your best gains. Having great arms isn't just about doing lots of curls. To understand what it takes to achieve peak arm status, we have to actually break down the anatomy of the arm. And let's start from the top. First, we have the deltoids, specifically all three heads of the deltoid, the anterior, the lateral, and the posterior. While I suppose this isn't really technically the arm, it does make up a decent portion of it. Getting bolder shoulders will really help your arms pop, and even better, they can add to the illusion of having a better V-taper. Moving down from there, we have the biceps brachii, or just the bis. This muscle is the curling muscle, but it's not just that. To really grow your biceps, you want to use three different movements, being flexion at the elbow joint, flexion at the shoulder joint, and rotation of the forearm. Given this, it will be important to perform all three movements when planning out our routine. Next up, we have the triceps brachii, or just simply the tris. This set of muscles primarily extends the arm at the elbow joint. And I once heard this quote, "Biceps are for show, but triceps, they're for the dough," which means they do the heavy lifting and make up the bulk of the arm. And then finally, we have our forearms. There are several muscles that make up both the flexors and extensors. Their role in our training will be super simple. We'll just stick with the basic flexion and extension movements. Now that we have a better understanding of the anatomy of the muscles that make up your arms, it's time to put them all together with the best lifts to grow them into Thor-like masterpieces. And before we jump into Thor's training, if you want to make gains, and more importantly, show them off like a proper superhero, I just so happen to know the place that's a right fit for you. Super X, a company that specializes in making the world's best heroic workout apparel. They have hundreds of thousands of customers all around the world. Honestly, these joggers are some of the most comfortable I've ever worn, and they're flexible. I don't feel like I'd be limited even on a squat. Wait a second. Yep, not limited at all. This clothing is designed with super stretch fabric and feels like you're legit wearing a superhero suit. The coolest part is they have designs based on your favorite heroes, even Thor. Make sure to use my promo code RICKER at checkout for 20% off your first order. It's a great way to support the channel while getting world-class training gear. Now, onto the workout. So it turns out smaller muscle groups tend to respond better to more frequency. So instead of the typical 1 to 2 sessions per week for a muscle group, we're actually going to crush the arms with 4 sessions. Hey, no one said it would be easy. Keep in mind though, all of these sessions are going to have different intensities and volumes, and each one's going to have its own primary muscle to focus on. So on day 1, we're going to focus on triceps specifically, but still have some minor work on the other muscles. Here's the routine. We'll start with close grip bench press for 4 sets of 8. Make sure when you're doing the close grip bench press, your hands are about shoulder width apart and your elbows are tucked in. And as you bring the bar down, touch your chest and go all the way up to a full lockout, a full extension to really hit those triceps. Now we're going to superset that movement with dumbbell curls for 3 sets of 10. Same thing here, and on all of our lifts really, we want a full range of motion. So make sure your arms are at full extension at the bottom and a full contraction at the top. Next up, we're going to go into bench dips for 4 sets of 10 reps. Make sure to go down as far as you can. Try to get to where your upper arm is parallel to the ground, and then go up to a full extension. You can even add weights on your hips if you'd like. And then we're going to superset this movement with barbell forearm curls for 3 sets of 10. I prefer to do this standing, but you can do it seated as well. And then finally, we'll finish day 1 with dumbbell lateral raises to really hit the delts. And we'll do those at 3 sets of 10. Similar to day 1, on day 2, we'll target the biceps now, but still have some minor work with the other muscles. On this day, we'll start with barbell curls for 4 sets of 8. This is a really great way to add some bulk to the biceps. Whenever you're doing this, make sure your elbows come forward just slightly, but be sure not to rock or drive your hips into it. This should be fully a bicep exercise. And then we're going to superset that with tricep pushdowns for 3 sets of 10 reps. Next, we're going to go into incline dumbbell curls for 4 sets of 10 reps. This is one of my favorite movements to really target the biceps and help them grow. And we're going to superset that movement with dumbbell forearm extensions for 3 sets of 10 reps. And this is really going to hit the back of the forearm or those extensors. And then finally, we're going to finish with dumbbell front raises for 3 sets of 10 reps to really target that front delt. In session 3, our primary focus will be on the shoulders while still touching on the other muscle groups. We'll start with dumbbell leaning lateral raises for 4 sets of 10 reps. You don't have to lean a whole lot when doing this movement, just a slight bit. This really helps to get a full extension and contraction of the delt when raising up that dumbbell. And we're going to superset this movement with tricep pushdowns for 3 sets of 10 reps. Then we're going to go into single arm band or cable reverse flies. We're going to do this movement for 4 sets of 10 reps. This is one of my favorite movements for hitting the rear delts. We're going to superset those with dumbbell curls for 3 sets of 10 reps. And then finally, we're going to top off session 3 with band front raises for 4 sets of 10 reps. Now, on to our last session. This is going to be a full arm routine combining everything together. We're going to start with barbell overhead press for 3 sets of 8 reps. When you do this movement, come all the way down to your upper chest and then press all the way up for a full extension at the top. This is going to be a great movement for your delts and triceps. We're going to superset that movement with incline dumbbell curls for 3 sets of 10. Next up, we're going to go single arm band or cable reverse flies for 3 sets of 10. And we're going to superset that with bench dips for 3 sets of 10 reps as well. Next up, we're going to go into dumbbell forearm curls for 3 sets of 10 reps, and superset that with dumbbell forearm extensions for 3 sets of 10 reps. This is the full routine, and here are the bonus tips to help you optimize it fully. First up, we have periodization. Basically, what this means in our case is that you can't just implement this routine forever. You have to fluctuate its volume and intensity over time using other principles like progressive overload. A good example of what this could look like is doing this program for 5 weeks with a deload, and then going another 5 weeks after that. And say if you start with 30 pounds on tricep pushdowns for the first week, build up by 5 to 10 pounds each week until around that peak week. And in that week, you should be very close to failure. And having said this, with the bigger lifts like close grip bench press or overhead press, you can stay a little bit closer away from failure, especially if you don't have a rack to lift in or a spotter. The next bonus tip is to change up the program after your deload. That can look like changing the set and rep scheme or substituting out some of the lifts. And speaking of substituting, this program requires a gym to train. If you don't have a gym, you can still do this routine, but you'll need to substitute several lifts. Like you could do diamond push-ups instead of a close grip bench press. And yo, if you would like more information on which lifts to substitute, or you would just like this plan in a written form, check out the Thor arm training guide in the description down below. Keep in mind this routine is for Thor-like arms. I recommend using it in conjunction with your full body routine so you don't look like someone that skips leg day. Best of luck to you with this program. Like, subscribe, and keep us posted on your results in the comments down below.
I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another!